don't worry, I still love you. So given that Valentine's Day is probably around a week away from when this video goes up, I really don't think that there's any better time of the year to talk about this topic in particular. As anyone who's been in a relationship knows and won't tell you, whenever any sort of special occasion comes up where it's up to you to do the most, so too does the ever persistent question in the back of your mind that time and again needs answering of, is this actually worth all this time and money and effort or not? And I'm sure that for many of you with hearts full of her or him, I don't make the rules for your life, stomachs full of butterflies and bollocks fully emptied, it will be. And so in that case, well, go f*** yourself, cornball. It seems as if you got it all figured out, alright? You don't need my help one bit. For now. Go ahead and enjoy that empty ass wallet, you big fat happy hubby. See, this video right here is for those of you who are asking that exact same question at the moment, but instead your honest answer is that it's just not. There is nothing wrong with realizing that now instead of making the unreasonable investment that Valentine's Day was inevitably going to be for you. I mean, at that stage, you're essentially just paying for the and you know what? You're lucky that you copped onto this fact before that big day came too close. That being said, it sure ain't an easy alternative, alright? Because a breakup is never going to be easy. And so, for those of you who think it's about time, and I guess also those whose other half has just finished watching this video, yeah, that's my bad, by the way. But don't worry, see, I have all your backs, because this is your breakup survival guide. Now, not to get too personal with the internet right now, but for me personally, this issue is of course super very personal, as over the years I've had to deal with my own fair few breakups, believe it or not. Well, breakup, restraining order, I guess you'd have to legally call them. But hell, what's the real difference when at the end of the day, the pain is all the same? Either way, what I'm trying to say is that I know the situation well, and because of that, I know that there are no great ways to go about it per se, but also irregardless, some ways that are a whole lot worse, which can as a result lead to outcomes ranging from kicking, screaming and shouting to oh yeah, a whole ass missing persons report. And so it's your responsibility to tread lightly and steer it as best a way you can from the get-go. But before we even touch off of that topic and get way ahead of ourselves, I think it's important that first we go through and decipher reasons why and why not to break up. See, obviously you're gonna have your reasons. Well, at least two. Those are first your actual reason, and second the bullshit you tell your now ex-significant other. Your own reason can be any plethora of things. Whether that be your own boredom getting the best of you, a better option has come around, an outie belly button, it can be whatever really. I mean, it's your life. Just as long as it's not the same thing that you tell the person that you were in the middle of breaking up with. Like, what sense would there be in that? I mean, seriously, what could possibly be the point of total transparency when at worst what we're dealing with here is a body bag and at best is the virtue of honesty, I guess? Yeah, don't even bother. It's your own reason that you get to keep to yourself. But that's a good thing, because that means, yes, it truly can be so shallow. I don't care what it is exactly, and guess what? You don't have to tell me a damn thing neither. Although I would appreciate anyone who drops a comment if it's one that could make me laugh. You see, I feast off of people's misery. Your second reason, that which has to be repeated back onto them, on the other hand, while still having to be a believably personal issue, has to also shift the blame off of you and them and more onto just the way things have to be. Ideally, if a job opportunity comes up in the city over, now would be a good time to go and take it. If you've been deeply closeted all along, now would be a good time to accept yourself fully. I don't know what your life's about, but be sure to seize any opportunity that comes your way and bullshit your way out as best you can. Now, I know that at the end of the day, a breakup is a two-party issue. So, on the other hand of the assets, we have the losers. Those who didn't clock that the person that they love has actually hated them for a while now. Given that you're going through a breakup, that leaves a 50-50 chance that you've been broken up with. And I get how all of this can seem very insulting. You know, how I advise you getting lied to and called you all a bunch of losers and so on and so forth. But what you have to level with me on is that there is really no winning in a breakup. But you did lose, face the facts, that's true. But also, their reason isn't necessarily a cause of concern for you. You either know already what you did wrong, or on the other hand, if you don't, well then there was only something deep down inside of you that you can't necessarily change because it's part of who you are, that your now ex hated enough to cut contact with you forever. Sometimes these differences can be too big to console, in which case it is better off to just move on. Or she was getting backshots by a way fatter than yours. Yeah, either way, in none of those scenarios would you actually be happier if she was just honest with you. Now, there's naturally going to be a level of hesitation involved with any sort of decision like this. When, well, some girls are willing to go to war over this shit. Yes, maybe the alternative option this Valentine's may indeed be a 200 buckaroo gifts and dinner wombo combo, but that's still a whole lot less than any new paint job, pair of Jordans, PS5, whatever it is that you actually love. And I'm in no way trying to insinuate that that's how every ex-girl is, but it sure as shit ain't none of it. You know, hopefully you were just smart enough to tell the difference between these types of people in the first place. But I know that there are definitely some of you stuck between a rock and a hard place because of that problem exactly this year. Man, you're just gonna have to remember that there's really no point in putting off the inevitable. And even if you have to move countries just to do so, I can guarantee to you that at some stage, this tantrum throwing grown ass toddler you've been sticking it in will move on, eventually to someone else to mentally torture. You can always count on someone desperate for attention to go elsewhere for it as long as you're willing to stop giving them what they crave in the first place. The beauty in a bad ex is that it was never truly you that they cared about, or they'd just have acted like a normal person. What they're after at the end of the day is that toxicity. They very well may be addicted to it and willing to go anywhere just to find it. So equivalent to the cheese touch, why wouldn't you just pass it on and just make it some Rowley's problem and learning moment? After all, that continuous recycling of crazy exes is a necessary and wonderfully terrible thing. An inevitability of the world continuing to go round until eventually they find themselves a f***ing Fregley willing to put up with their bullshit for life. All you gotta do is leave them and you've let your own world keep going round in peace. Except you, Vanessa. I don't care if it's technically illegal on paper or whatever. Run as fast as you can. You can't escape me. So now that you've decided to break up or not, and you're still here, in which case this next section doesn't apply to you much. My bad again, I guess. But if so, where exactly are you supposed to go from here? Well, first of all, you don't want to think it through too much or you'll end up going through each and every viable outcome in your noggin without actually ever seeing any of them through. Think about it not at all and you're bound to be found with traces of glitter under your eyelids. I'm sure that there's a happy medium in between all that somewhere, but at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to say the word. But I guess I can show you some examples of how not to go about it. Hey, so you know your friend Rachel, she's single, right? Oh my god, yes. Wait, who were you thinking of setting her up with? Me. So how was your day? Are you seriously about to break up with me right now? What are you even talking about? Don't even try and sugarcoat what you're doing to me. No, you know what? If you're willing to treat me this way, then maybe it's just for the best. Go on, just break up with me and get it over with. Oh my god, you're just so pathetic. I don't know how I didn't see it. I'm pathetic? Pathetic? You rip out my heart and call me pathetic? Oh. Hey, so I was just thinking that maybe this weekend we should just get up and go. Your plan is to go where exactly? I don't know, maybe the lake? Or we could go to the beach like last time. So, you come to me without even actually thinking out the details of your plan, and in return you're asking for an entire weekend of my time? I'm sorry to say, but the only offer I'm willing to bid at the moment is some straight to the point sex and the leftovers of my dominoes that are on the way. What? You don't even want to spend a few romantic days alone with me? It'll have to be a no for me. No? It's just like you. You never want to spend any time with me. Listen, I already told you, and then you rejected my counteroffer. So I'm out. You know how much I do for you? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, get this whack job out of here. I don't want to see them anymore. No professionality. Not one bit. Alright, so don't be mad, but I have something that I really want to ask. Well, what is it, babe? Well, I was just wondering if maybe we could consider opening the relationship. What? Well, it's just that, you know... Wait, this wasn't already an open relationship? Well, that's funny, actually, because I've been f***ing the shit out of your friend Steve. And the postman, and your twin brother, your dad, and well, my gay best friend every couple of months, but that's only to do a check. Who else? Who else? Well, there's your dog, your goldfish. So yeah, none of those are good ideas in a life or death situation, but by far the worst way that you can break up with someone is by getting caught in the act. Because there's really no coming back from cheating anymore. And I'm not even talking about some it's morally wrong to cheat. Listen, man, I don't give a fuck what you do. Everybody knows that it's not a good thing to cheat, and that has never been anyone's perspective on the matter. Still, that doesn't take away from the fact that it's still gonna feel good to those who don't care in the first place. But for the sake of your life lived with your fucking balls as they are, at least under no circumstances should you get caught. Yeah, maybe back in the 80s or whatever, a fella could get away with a second family in the town over. But that's not how things work anymore. Get caught nowadays and your bare ass will be posted all over the gram for all your friends and family to bear witness to. And you will get fired from your CEO gig at a Coldplay concert as a result of your own decisions. Welcome to the Big 26. For better or for worse, your actions have consequences. And if I were to have to give you a loose template on how a successful breakup should go. So, I'm breaking up with you. Are you serious? How could you do this to me? Hello? Hi? Hello? Are we gonna talk about this? Hello? I love you. Just say the words. Now it's probably never gonna go so smoothly in reality, but hell, sometimes it's just gotta be done. It's gotta be done. And in that scenario, what can you do other than just say the words and get it done? So, assuming that you've made it to the other side of all that alive, congratulations, you're officially alone again. But just because the breakup itself is over, that doesn't mean that the worst isn't still yet to come. You have to be willing to constantly remind yourself why exactly you're in this position in the first place. Given that you were the breaker-upper, that means that you had a problem and now you've solved it. Good for you. Now keep it that way. If not, well, that only means that you missed out on the experience of seeing somebody get exponentially sick of every little thing that you do until everything that you do, from what Chinese you want to order to what you want to rewatch on Netflix, becomes a blow-up argument that you can only blame yourself for not noticing the signs any sooner. Past this point is where the real mental struggle will begin, and your willpower will require your own cooperation in the matter. Every breakup is bound to be difficult, especially so in a generation with a million ways to contact, stalk, and expose each other's most vulnerable secrets with the aid of the World Wide Web. So it's up to you more than ever to actually go and see it through. The best calls that you can make right now are not at 3 AM, but instead to delete any photos and block any numbers as soon as possible, and then go and giving yourself the time to reflect, because anything that moves may seem like a viable solution until you realize that anything willing to touch off of you in this condition isn't quite your type. There are an awful lot of mistakes that people make post breakup, but if you can do that much, well, at least you're avoiding the worst of them. Being primarily breakup sex, of course. I mean, if you're gonna have breakup sex, at least have it with someone who's not the person that you literally just broke things off with. Okay, one time, but that's the limit, people. Make a mistake and then stop. Twice though, and you've already turned a little bit of a habit out of it. These exes are a sneaky breed, don't forget it. That second time back, and you should expect a plate full of food right afterwards. Your favorite show turned on after witnessing a party trick you hadn't even seen in the movies before. After all, they're not gonna let it keep happening for no reason. You know, cause you're just like big ol' Moby Dick. She is quite clearly determined to reel you back in. Congratulations, you're still lonely, but now only hopelessly horny, and right back where you started. What makes a breakup so tough is going to be that mental adjustment from living in love to just normal living again. But hell, you've done it before, and so even if it seems hard, and it probably will be in more ways than one, it's entirely in your own hands in more ways than one. Because it's not as if you're going cold turkey, unless it was an addiction for you too. So you can do it. It's not as if she was sprinkling a whole nother concoction of baby powder down there. And that means it's completely up to you to see it through. And even if you are totally and utterly heartbroken in lieu of your circumstance, everybody can get behind the notion of, hey, at least it's a little quieter now. So enjoy that much. It's a lot nicer than you'd expect. In all honesty, from my perspective, loneliness is underrated as I'm always chill with me for like the most part, and in your state, keeping those demons at bay is as simple as picking up a new game to play through for the next 3 weeks straight, as well as maybe a few 3-5s if that's your thing. And hell, if you really need something to hold that badly, go pick yourself up a guinea pig or something simple like that. Enjoy the simple things for a while. It's most important to give yourself a little bit of time to get over all of what the just happened. Given that all that works for you and now you've made it a month or so on, you are officially single again. My first suggestion now would have to be a shower. And if you're wondering how long until you get to start dating again, take all the time you need. I'd suggest giving yourself a little bit of time to figure yourself back out again. And by that, I'm talking about like a minimum of 48 hours post the breakup itself just to get your affairs in order. But once that's up, you know, in all honesty, you're golden to start having fun as soon as you make it out of that manhole that you've been living in. Because let's be real, it's not like love is really all too real, unless you're talking about being in a state of constant agitation. And it's exactly right now where learning how to be a little selfish again is the key to forgetting. So who gives a shit, you know? Now, given that I've spent the most part of the last 12 minutes or so just bullshitting to you, when I'm sure that some of you actually clicked onto this video for the point of it, I'm not insensitive, alright? I get that you're vulnerable, and I did call you all a bunch of asshole losers, only for loving and inevitably losing. Still, you stuck it out the whole way through, which only tells me that you're probably very desperate right now. So I guess it's only right that I be a little vulnerable too, and give a genuine piece of advice for once. Right now in your life, you may very well feel the lowest you ever have, and the only person whose comfort you truly want, I just told to lie to you and lose your number. Again, sorry, for those of you... Yeah, I got nothing. Life sucks sometimes. Sometimes a whole lot. Your life only sucks right now because at some stage it felt so good. You can't get mad when you're projectiling after a long night of boozing. It's 2026 and your actions have consequences. Remember, appreciate this pain for what it is, because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the result of the end of something great is all. You still get to come away with all your memories and lessons, and so it could be worse. Oh, here's something proper. Use those lessons and grow up from them. I know way too many people with a habit of learning nothing along the way and ending up in the exact same circumstance with only a slightly different person this next time round. No, not me. No way, no way. I mean, you should feel that at least you grew throughout this process. That even if it hurt your little feelings, it wasn't a complete waste of time. That it was worth it, even if she broke your little heart. But if you're not gonna change, if you're just gonna end up with the exact same type of person in the exact same circumstances anyways, then what was the point of any of this? You might as well have just stayed with the miserable bitch whose Chinese order you've already got learnt off. If you're wondering why this is recorded on a Canon, by the way, that's only because I was trafficked by Epstein, and so the US government let me borrow one for a while, which is about as much justice as anyone's gonna see.